Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. In this session, I'm going to cover Release Note 7, which went into effect for July 2025. As you can see, I'm in my sample client scenario for John and Jane's sample. And as a reminder, upper left corner, hamburger icon, we're going to go into the support and resources and view the knowledge base. And we can see in this tile here what's new. And as I mentioned, Release 7, which went into effect July the 9th in our production site. So here are the table of contents here I'm going to review with you. There's one new feature for trust return rate projection and a few feature enhancements, improvements to the to-do list, return rate projection, corporation return rate projection, and SAM insights, unused RESP balance. And then finally, the assumption changes. So let's dive in. I'm going to work my way from the top right through to the bottom there. We're going to start with the new feature, trust return rate projection. So this is a new report that's available. And in the event you have multiple trusts, we can see the rate of return projection, average return rate on the selected trust. So let's head over to Conquest and I'll show you what this looks like in a little more detail. In my sample client scenario, I have two family trusts. I've got sample family trust 2005 and family trust 2025, just so we can differentiate between the two. So when I go and open my audit reports up here, we can pull up that report, which is called Trust Return Rate Projection. I've got it teed up here. And so we can see the average return rate inside this sample family trust 2005. So in the event you have a family trust with multiple investment accounts, let's say one has a all income profile, another one has maybe a moderate growth profile or balanced, it's going to show the average return rate inside that family trust, okay? And so you can toggle between the two. And as you can see, I've got a different average return rate in the other family trust. Just shows you the long-term projection. We can explore panel options. So if people have a preference for these bar charts here, so we can see a visual. In this example, I am usually a fan of the bar charts, but while in this example, I think I would prefer looking at the numbers here. So the choice is yours. You have some options, okay? Let's head back to our Release Note 7, and that covers that section. We're going to move down to feature enhancements, improvements to the to-do list. So what they've done here, to summarize, they've simplified and made improvements to the to-do list to make it a little more clear. And as a reminder back here in the financial plan, you can see I've got multiple strategies applied. So each of these strategies creates an item on the to-do list. So that's how that's created. Now, there's a couple of ways we can navigate to the to-do list. As you go back into plans, maybe it's 6, 12 months down the road, to review a client plan that you worked on, remember, it'll always pull you here to the dashboard, so you can just slide down here and review the to-do list there. Alternatively, we can go up to review plan, and you can see here the to-do list, and you can filter by goal or just slide down and see all of the applied strategies for each of the goals, okay? So this update, what it's done, it's simplified a few details here, made it a little more clear, as they're saying, and it's added a why, how, and sometimes you'll see even strategy listed below. Okay, so in this example, I've got a commute pension. It's a build a strategy I created, and you can see the title is commute pension, which I gave it, but over here it says sign applicable paperwork from employer to commute the pension. So what it's doing, it's pulling from the build a strategy in the box of how. So that's key to note. That will show up in the client PDF report if you generate the report. So important to keep it client friendly, simple, sometimes less is more. Okay, so that's how that section works there. With the strategies you click on to apply that you don't have to use a build a strategy, you just click on to apply. I'm going to slide down and show you what that looks like. For example, where is it? I'm going to go down here to this one. Cash reserve, we can show to show the details. See that you have the why and the how. And sometimes we have multiple strategies here in this one strategy I clicked on to save $2,167 per month. And down below, this is going to take place after the mortgage payments are completed in the future. And you can see the breakdown between the two. It's $1,083 for each one RSP, and the other is for a spousal RSP for Jane, as you can see there. So in that case, it's broken it out into two items on the to-do list, okay? Begin monthly RSP savings for John, $1,083, and begin monthly savings for Jane in a spousal RSP, $1,083. So that one strategy created two items on the to-do list. We can go in to show the details, the why and the how. We can also note, just for future reference, the future date. Okay, and who is the task owner? As an FYI, we can go in here and we can make adjustments to that date if we wanted to. Okay, what the software is doing, it's just tracking those liability payments for the mortgage, and it's projecting it'll be paid off in the future in the year 2038. So that's when this is supposed to start, and that's why on the to-do list it says to do later. But it will show up at some point in the client PDF report. And when you confirm the plan, it'll help track it moving forward. Hope that makes sense. Let's move on to the next section, and it's called return rate projection. So this is another additional report they added in there, and it provides a little more detailed auditing and an analysis with regards to return rates for members. So you can look at all members or the return rates assigned to each member. So in the example of my plan, I've got a husband and wife scenario, John and Jane sample. And when I go into their accounts, you can see John has a growth profile on his portfolios, and Jane has a moderate growth. So they have slightly different allocations. And we can go into our report up here, and we can pull up that new report, which is called return rate projection. Shows up right there. And again, we can toggle between two visuals. We've got panel options. I'm showing the chart, and I can view the table, which I prefer. We can see the numbers. So all members, this is the average return rate in our plan for all investments. Or we can show the breakdown between John and Jane. And you can see the differences there. So another new report can just reduce the number of clicks and toggling in and out of different sections to get a quick glimpse of things. Let's move on to the next item down below, which is the corporation return rate projection. So similar to the above one, this other one is related to corporations, obviously, and we can see the breakdown per corporation or as a whole. So let's go into the corporations here. And just to show you really quickly, I've got multiple corps listed there. And I'm going to go over into my reports, and I'm going to add that report in, which is corporation return rate projection. There it is. Again, we have the two options, view chart or view table. I prefer the table. So we can see all corporations, the average rate of return. Or we can go into each individual corp and we can see how it's allocated and the return rates there. You've got a new corp. So that's how that kind of works with regards to those new reports. So I like it. Moving on to SAM Insights. So SAM Insights can really help if you go back into a plan, but this is specifically related to RESP accounts. So if there's still funds left over, if you haven't utilized all the funds in your illustration, sometimes you'll see an RESP balance will be maintained and show up on the net estate report, which likely you don't want. So now we have the ability to identify if there's extra money left over that isn't being used for the education goal, and we can close the account and apply the proceeds remaining left over into the personal accounts. So let's head over to Conquest. We'll take a closer look at what this looks like. And in my plan, in the client scenario, I do have an education goal, as you can see here. And I do have a child entered there, a dependent, Jimmy, and we've got some money in an RESP account, which I'll show you here. At the bottom, RSP, so $20,000 market value. It's got a moderate growth profile. And with regards to the goal, I believe I had 20,000. 10,000 per year for 2 years in my example. And so in our projection, if we look at SAM Insights, and if we look at the opportunities section, there it's flagged the unused RESP balance. So it can give us some insight there. And the education goal appears fully funded, and RESP account still has additional funds left over. So what we can do is take action on this suggested action to close the RESP account after the final education expense. So we can choose to take me there or not now. I'm going to show you when we take me there, we can do there. We can close it or apply this proposed strategy, and it'll move over here. So I can click on there. It's going to move to the right in the strategy section. And let's take a look down here. There it is. Close the RESP account January 1st, 2031. Okay. Without that, on the estate summary, we still have the education investment showing up, which you don't want in 2070. So with this, it'll take that away and is applicable. Just to show you another way you could have done this, back here, John and Jane sample, we can go into the actual account, RESP, more detailed data, and we can go into, oh, I forgot to assign a beneficiary, should be Jimmy, confirm, and we can go into some, there it is, close RESP account. We can, it defaults to off. We'll turn it on and we can close it. We can specify the date. In this example, it's defaulting to closing it at retirement, but we could choose an earlier date. We can transfer contributions to their cash flow or a joint bank account. And the AIP sections, we can transfer again either to cash flow or to the RRSP account. So some really nice features there with education planning and what to do with remaining balances in the account. I like it a lot. Okay, so keep an eye on SAM Insights, can give you some ideas of things that maybe you forgot about. I think SAM Insights is really useful when you go back into the plan after not visiting it for a while. It can get up to speed really quickly. And so we can go to these questions, opportunities, information insights, so it categorizes it all, or you can just go and click more and go through each one on the right hand side. There's a lot to cover in here, as you can see. So over time, I am growing more accustomed to SAM Insights and understanding how it works and leaning on it a little bit more at times, I find. So there we go. Back to release 7, finalizing my presentation here, assumption changes. So for Nova Scotia, the provincial tax updates have occurred, and the budget has received royal assent, as you can see there. So for the personal tax, the basic personal amount, spouse or common law partner, and eligible dependent amount has been increased to $11,744 for all eligible individuals for 2025, and the age amount has increased to $5,734 for all eligible individuals, and the corporate tax rates, and the small business tax rate has been reduced from 2.5% to 1.5% on the provincial side, and the small business limit has been increased from $500,000 to $700,000. So good news. Knowing, reassured that the most up-to-date tax rates are in the software. This all happens behind the scenes. There's nothing you have to do or worry about. Just leave it alone and you're going to be okay. The only thing you might want to have some control over is with regards to the small business limit. So if we head back to Conquest, I'll show you really quickly in the corporation side. For each corporation, you have a toggle for the small business limit. When you add a corporation, it defaults on to yes, which in most cases I would say, but in the event it doesn't apply due to multiple corps or something else, you can always turn it off. Okay, and the normal, the small business limit up to 700,000 won't be applicable. So that covers Release Note 7. Hope you found this session useful. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.